Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where we are looking at the Seahawks 24-3 victory at home to the Miami Dolphins. And specifically, we're looking at the tape. Yes, the hallowed all 22. We're going to have that pulled up. We've got some key topics to get us focused. And then we'll look ahead to week 4, Monday Night Football at the Detroit Lions. Finally, a real test for the 2024 Seattle Seahawks. Griff, before that, do you have a preamble topic? Chat, good to see you all in here. Thank you so much for your questions.
I'm always taken by surprise how reading directions, like how effective reading directions is. I was having Wi-Fi problems yesterday and it kept going in and out. And instead of like Googling like what to do, I just kept manually reconnecting and like, okay, I'll live with it. Then 5 minutes later, it would go out for a few seconds. Then I finally took the time to watch a 2-minute YouTube video and I fixed it. And I could have fixed a 24-hour spanning problem in 2 minutes yesterday, but I kept putting it off because I was afraid of having to follow directions.
Well, hang on. You just said effective reading directions is, and then you described watching a YouTube video.
Well, okay, watching directions maybe. Listening to directions, I think, is the
like
operative.
Online tutorials are underrated. Is what you're saying?
I'm just in general like, actually, like when you read the label on something that tells you how to use it, and you're like, I'll figure it.
Right. And I'm always like, nah, this bullshit's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So there's no way that this is gonna. I can't even be bothered to read it, and then you start reading, and then you're like, hold on. Oh, there could be something here. Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and then you're like, I should read directions more often.
Yeah,
it actually works.
So
anyway,
on a similar note, what about instruction manuals? Because
same deal. I mean, you get one of those little folded up pamphlets, and you look at it. The text is like in size 6 font. You're like, what is all this shit? And you throw it out, and then you just look at the materials in front of you, like, I'll figure this out. Like one time, I had to put together a bed frame. And I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll listen to some music. I'll just vibe. But my vibes betrayed me, Matty. And I had to go back to the instructions. And I humbled myself and read it one bullet at a time. And then I slowly but surely I got there. And then it starts like your brain starts to figure it out as you go. Then it becomes self-explanatory once you get in a groove. Anyway.
I have a bad habit, though, of half reading or half watching tutorials,
right,
and then skipping over like an important thing where it's like, do not do this, or make sure you've done this before this. And because I've skipped that part out, I can end up causing severe issues.
Yeah. See, that's again, you got to give patience to these things. So no closing wisdom, but opening wisdom for sure.
Wow, fantastic. I know you were feeling a lot of pressure there. It's easy.
Yeah, well, I keep saying next time, so I had to follow through. So fellas, especially I'm talking to you, read the directions. Okay?
Well done you for following through.
Yep. Do you have a preamble topic?
Well, Monjombo asked, does anything with the Seattle Overload name change? Does Griff receive more shares?
Yeah, so it's 5149 me now.
Right. Whereas before it was 100 to me.
Yeah, well, I've managed to arm wrestle Matty out of the highest ranking position on the board.
Yeah.
So, we like to project this image of equal partnership, but in truth, I'm wearing the pants here. So
right.
Unless something goes wrong, like, look, you got to talk to Matty about it. I had nothing to do with it. Okay.
And really, Ty is the real.
I mean,
dungaree wearer.
Preemptively, Matty's the brains here. I'm just a guy.
I would disagree with that. Okay. Fantastic. Marvelous.
Hit it, Matty.
Sometimes I can be slow to perform. Welcome to the Seattle Overload Tape Podcast, where we're going to be looking at Week 3 Seahawks 24-3 victory over the Miami Dolphins. We've got the All-22 from it. We've watched it. We'll bring some of it up. We'll share our kind of key takeaway from that. And then we have topics which are why the offense stalled, Geno Smith and just being Geno Smith, the intermediate pass coverage issue, or is it the run defense, and whatever else we have time for, whatever the chat decides, to take us on. We also have a Detroit Lions preview. First, Griff, we said key takeaway. Now, I think we do tend to talk, which is marvelous, but also I think a good way of framing the tape is we've spent a lot of time looking at it, offense and defense. What's our lasting impression? Now the dust has settled, we've flicked off the projector. In your head right now, if someone in Costco, as can happen, so you're checking out with cashier, and they say to you, "Hey, did you watch the Seahawks tape?" Which I'm sure they ask you quite often.
It's more of a Trader Joe's thing, but go on.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, other food stores are available. What would you say? You'd be like, "Hey, you know what? My lasting impression was this."
My lasting impression was on offense, the only issue they really had that game were the penalties, I think. If the penalties don't put them in the hole, they move the chains more on those second and longs so they can avoid those third and longs. The only other comment I really have, like broad comment about the offense, is it's more so like just why are they choosing not to spend much time under center? And if you're not going to do that, well, why not offset with more pistol? Which is all to say, like, dude, where's the play action? Again, there's a little bit more of this game, but that it will be a large topic. But so that's really it for offense. Defensively, it was really what our impression was off the broadcast and what the impression's been the past 2 weeks. If they have a ferocious pass rush, the corners can cover all day long. Safeties are really competent. Run defense, they can't fit the run from too high. They can't. They even have some issues one high when there's a fullback in the backfield or a tight end pulling, or just generally any pull scheme. And then in coverage, they're weak over the middle, especially the intermediate middle, so that 10 to 20 yard range. In between the numbers, they have some structural issues there that will be something to monitor. It's not going to sink their ship, but it is going to be the area that really competent offenses are going to try to exploit. So those are the things like where my brain will go to. But where they're strong, they are very strong. How about you?
Yeah, the offense thing it was kind of like the protection was shaky throughout the game, but particularly shaky on those drives where they stalled.
Yeah.
As I stalled by unplugging my mic. I need to.
Brand.
Yeah. Well, that's not nice, is it?
Do you have an instruction manual for how to fix the mic issue?
Yeah, I think it says don't unplug the cable. But anyway, essentially on offense, O-line was always going to be a bit of an issue, but you add in the penalties, some of which were on the O-line, and it was just too much for Geno Smith and the passing game to overcome. The run game as well, if you look at the first few runs that they had, I don't know what the Dolphins were doing defensively, like run alignment wise, but they seem to just flat out bust some stuff early in the game, and then they stopped busting said stuff, which in terms of how effective Seattle's run game is, and they did put it together on the final drive, but it doesn't speak great to their run game effectiveness, and I think they've still got a lot of stuff to work out there, having been very enthusiastic about what they can do in the run game, and obviously that being a big layer for them. I think they're now at the point of their offense, which I'm not saying it's lacking identity. I think their identity still is very much we live and die with how much Geno can overcome the pass protection as a drop back pass and a drop back offense. And lacking identity basically is a buzzword for oh, we
well,
can't do anything on offense.
yeah,
We can't move the ball. We can't score points.
yeah.
That being said, they, my lasting impression is there was too much to overcome when they stalled. Kind of getting into the first topic of our tape stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess that was inevitable because it's the big takeaway. But also my lasting impression is that they need to. They've been kind of not tapping into some buckets like under center play action. There was like 2 of them this game, so that's cool. Like certain shorter drop back stuff, maybe certain run types. Like, I guess they got into under center run on the last drive, and I think it's now the stage for them to not reinvent themselves, but extend their offense a bit more, and maybe break some tendency if you can even have tendencies after 3 games of the season.
Right. It's like honing in on what areas they want to live in.
And all that with the caveat that if they had a better situation at both guard spots, I don't think any of it would really matter because I think Geno and the receiving group and Grubb's passing concepts which can go a bit more downfield are that good.
They would be executing through whatever disadvantage they're putting themselves in if the guard play was even regular bad instead of horrible.
Right. And then defense, Griff, of course, I'm again quite similar. That's what happens when we watch the tape. We tend to be fairly aligned, and what would my lasting impression be of the defense? It would be, I am afraid of what Detroit is gonna present them. We'll come to that later in the show. First, Geno Smith, Griff. Some excellent data coming out. Oh, excellent because it paints Geno Smith in a positive light.
That's right.
No.
No. Yes, I was following along, nodding my head. Yes, it's great stats because Geno's in the desired area of those charts.
Well, I guess what's nice about it is that it totally matches the eye test, and each piece, each nugget that we're going to bring up on stream in a second is very much like, oh yeah, that matches what we're seeing from the Seahawks offense when we watch the broadcast and we watch the tape. So up first we've got let me just make sure I don't have anything terrible on the stream, which obviously I would do. So these are good accounts to follow as well. I should probably change that. We have this tweet from Stat Account, who has been tweeting up some great clips as well. This is quarterback accuracy from a clean pocket, weeks 1 to 3. You can see Geno Smith when he's given a clean pocket. His ADOT is not the highest. Average depth of target. Anthony Richardson's average depth of target is actually crazy. That will surely come back to the pack.
Yeah, that's hilarious too.
But Geno just over 6, and then his on-target percentage is by far the highest in the league, over 95%, which I guess it says 96%, doesn't it? Which is ludicrous.
So, is it interesting to you that a Ryan Grubb coached offense is really not pushing the ball downfield much?
I think there's a variety of reasons for that, right?
Yeah.
I actually, the other thing as well, like listening to his press conference, and it's very easy to overanalyze pressers, but like him talking about how difficult it is to run the ball in the NFL, and he was asked a question, I believe it was by Hawkblogger, like props for the question there, about condensed formations, and he then like volunteered that in the NFL they're useful because the hash marks are tighter, so it's a way of creating more space to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still working out the transition to the pros, which maybe you'd expect, but I think maybe there's been aspects of it that have taken him aback slightly. All that to say, yeah, I think Geno's ADOT, some of that is a protection thing, but then some of that is, if you're not going to use too much under center play action, which is how I imagine Anthony Richardson's average depth of targets at 12, because I imagine they've been taking a ton of under center play action shots down the field. Then it's going to be hard to get your A dot higher, because why is under center play action so good? Because you can buy the time and get the receivers down the field on those deep routes, and you can isolate them in the matchup to get those shots down the field. Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Griff? You've just disappeared. That's not good. Chat, are you excited about this chart from? It would be very ironic, wouldn't it, if Griff, after saying he'd followed an instruction manual and a tutorial on how to fix your internet, had just disappeared on us. That would be funny. No, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't really have much more to add on that, though, in terms of Geno's A dot. Let me just check where Griffin is. He disconnected 1 sec. Well. E and B, seems like the league is oddly split. Yeah, I can see that, Ian. I think, and remember, the A dot is over the snail. Is this you? The snail, you stat account? That would be amazing. But if you are stat account, great work on the account, because it's a very good one. I don't know if this is oddly split in. I think this is the Jags were criticized last year for not taking downfield shots, and then they added like a load of new receivers, and then they've been taking so many downfield shots. Then the rest of his bucket, Richardson, that screams uncensored play action and trying to like accent his strengths and keep things fairly simple for him. Purdy, you know what the style of 49ers offense is. Levis, you know what the Titans are trying to do with Levis and their style of offense. Kyler Murray, you know their style of offense and what they're trying to do. So I think this speaks to teams who blend in a run game very heavily into their like core ways of trying to get the ball down the field. Same even with Herbert and Darnold, right? Like those are the Shanahan, McVay stuff. Oh, look who's back. Right, Griff. So what do you think about Geno being a 6 in a Ryan Grubb offense, just over 6 A dot?
First thing I'm going to say, this is why you should never follow directions, because even if you follow them to a T, your problem could still not be fixed. So this is why it's better to shoot from the hip. Okay, you're asking me about, what are you asking me? Well, why is the average target low?
Yeah, well, you said to me that it surprised me that a Ryan Grubb offense is low in this respect.
Yeah, just some commentary there on like you can't go as deep as you can in college, but also it's a Geno stat. It's quarterback choice. He doesn't take advantage of the alerts as frequently as Penix is, where you have an option to go deep, even if it's not the main focus of the call. Also, the O-line is speeding him up. Like that's a huge part of it. If you wanted his average depth of target to look more like Murray, Levis, Purdy, Lawrence, he's going to be taking a lot more sacks. So I think those are the variables. He also has, JSN and Lockett especially, we know historically is a deep threat, but he's also a very good possession threat. And JSN is a possession threat. A guy that can get you some yards after the catch on those, but like JSN, you hit singles and doubles with the occasional home run. Tyler, you at this point in the game, you're hitting doubles and singles, the occasional home run. So they both skin the cat differently, but I think it's just a reflection of skill sets from O-line to quarterback to receiver room.
And then with what I was saying about it also being a lack of under-center play action, which is one big bucket for pushing the ball down the field, Brandon makes a good point that is the under-center stuff not around because they want Geno Smith to be further away because of how quickly the guards lose. Well, kind of linking to that point, Brandon, when it's anecdotal and I'd need to look at the stats, but it feels like when the few times they have tried under-center play action, guards have lost very quickly. I can think of 3 plays, and they haven't done it often. So, that's probably a variance thing as well.
But the whole point of like play action is you get slide protection, which makes it easier.
No, yeah, it should be easier,
Slide, right?
but it might be that they suck at slide protection
Could
or
be.
something. But yeah, it should help out the O line. Anyway,
Yeah.
right. Next data point. Football Insights. They charted off-target throws to horizontally versus vertically moving receivers. Note the reverse axes. Richardson in no man's land on the horizontal throws, and poor old Anthony Richardson. Griff, any thoughts on this one?
He's doing better horizontally this year than he did last year. Now, that might be skewed by the first half of the year. I think second half of the year, his on-target stuff on horizontally breaking routes was better. But that seems to have maybe been a point of emphasis, or maybe he's just, locked in right now. But that's the main thing that shows up to me. He was really good on vertical throws last year, as we know.
So far this season as well, their execution of thinking like a shallow crosser, be it on mesh or just, the backside guy running the drag, that seems to have been pretty on point. Whereas I can think of times last year where it's a bit shakier. Also think of times where Geno's under a bit more pressure in a messier pocket. So maybe that he's been in a better situation to throw those horizontal ones. And yeah, anything to say about the vertical here? Because obviously this shows Geno as being not as good as other quarterbacks at the vertical.
Yeah, but he's still, in the top 25% of quarterbacks, just eyeballing it.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but they're not connecting. Like, they're 2 for 8 on throws beyond 20 yards. Not that every vertical throw is 20 yards or deeper, but I think that's just them not connecting at the catch point, really. And only 8 throws is not very much.
No,
it's not very large, not very many.
Yeah, I guess that's the takeaway. It's not enough volume, or not volume, not which matches the ADOT, right?
Right. True.
Okay, final Geno chart. This is how often 2024 quarterbacks have faced the blitz and their EPA on those plays. I believe you're enthusiastic about this one, Griff.
Yeah. His EPA is, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's like 8th in there, tied for 8th probably. He's doing well on that, and he's getting blitzed a lot. Now, what's interesting is last year he was like top 5 against the blitz, or any 5-man rush or more on early downs. And then third downs, he was not. Now, I don't know, again, if that's true in the second half of the year, because they improved on third downs the second half of the year last year. So either way, though, he's doing well on all downs right now. He's identifying the pressure pre-snap, and then when he's not, he's adjusting, finding his hot read. There's that one play to Tyler Lockett on that snag concept where he hit Tyler as he's taking a hit from Jordan Brooks. So, yeah, he's just clued in right now, man.
Yeah, and Grubb's usage of shifts and formations and empty looks to undress what a defense is doing and where a pressure is coming from and what coverage they are probably in, whether it's man or zone, but also, are they 2 high or 1 high? That, I think, is helping Geno be good against the blitz. See where it's coming from and if it's coming pre-snap, and then knowing where he's going with the football. Right. I think this also speaks to Grubb's positives as a play caller during the early stint of his NFL career. So that's a cool one. Right, Griff, do you want to get to Geno tape, or do you want to move to the next topic and do Geno tape after?
I mean, what do you want to do? Let's put the ball in your court.
Well, that's not very good podcast. You can't just flip the ball back to me without doing anything with it.
Well, you asked me a question.
You haven't even tried to, do a basketball thing on your defender. You've just immediately hot potatoed it. Well, it's like those guys in basketball who don't want the shot clock to expire when they've got the ball, like at the end of a half, so they just flip it to a teammate.
No. See, Matty, this is a give and go. You're the point guard. You kick it out to the wing, me. and then right when you pass it to me, you cut, and then I throw it behind the on-ball defender's head. You catch it, give a little razzle-dazzle, maybe a little Euro step, pup fake, and you go up for an easy layup.
Monjombo makes a good point here.
That's right. 51-49, baby. I'm acting on my power.
No, so you should be the driving force. You should be the one who has the overall decision.
But my decision is to give the decision-making power to you.
Shambolic.
Let's watch some Geno tape.
Okay, fantastic. Should we watch the final drive and speak about what went well, or maybe the first drive?
Let's do the first drive, because the final drive is just Charbonnet, right?
No, it was a bit of empty and Geno identifying pressure.
Okay, well, all right, let's compromise. What do you want to do?
This is terrible. This is abysmal. No,
that was good.
51-49. We're doing the we're doing the final, the first drive.
Okay. Oh, we are doing the first drive. Okay.
Yeah, well done. That's
Bang.
your power.
Bang! It's good.
What's this? Okay, good. Sometimes the pen disappears. It's really frustrating. Okay. So you're going to see a lot of what we spoke about just earlier here. I think this is a pretty good drive for summing up those charts. So first of all, unusual looking formation here. That's 4 Seattle receivers up here and then 1 guy down here. They're then going to shift the running back into the backfield. All that does is tell Geno he's getting a type of zone because no linebacker walked out with the running back. They just bumped over like this, and they had a corner on the running back, something we've spoke about a lot on the channel. It's also, even though they're trying to show like it's this, it's very clearly, the fact, we'll let it play out a bit more. It looks very clearly to me to be 1 high, but I could be completely wrong. I know I'm completely wrong.
I'm getting quarter, half vibes from this. Quarters up top, half at the bottom.
Yeah, and something which came up in the grub presser is that there are alerts like any offense has, but there's options for them to check into things if they get looks. If this safety had been here and this was a pure one-on-one to DK on the first play of the game, they might have just checked into like a fade on and just thrown the go ball here. Or they might have that option down the line because quads like this really accents if this is one-on-one or not. Right. Obviously, safety being on this hash is less obvious, so it's right. Okay. And chat, I do see your questions. I have starred them, which means we refer back to them and bring them up. Yeah. Now, what do you think of their run stuff? Like, Grubb said he felt their zone techniques were like their best thing right now in terms of what can be their bread and butter moving forwards in the run game.
Yeah.
But the way they combo is kind of odd. Like,
what do you mean by that? Like, what do you think?
Look how wide and much turn the guy trying to reach they like kind of let the run through happen here, and they will really get turn and try and get an angle to like bash this guy and yeah, just watch it play out. It happens time and time again. Now look at this. And then it's like almost turn into here and then pad back late up to the guy coming off the butt.
I mean, I feel like that's fairly standard for the backside of inside zone.
Well, okay. What's
they really want movement. So you think that the backside of the combo, the backside blocker spends too much time on the combo before releasing to the second level.
No, it's more how they, as they get to the combo, they almost turn this shoulder into it. They do it here as well, rather than staying square. So,
honestly, that's how I think Shoddy and Greg Roman did it.
yeah.
So, and that might just be how Grubb and Huff prefer to do it as well.
No, it's just interesting to me. It's not how they were doing it under
Dickerson.
I don't think.
No, probably not. They are running a lot of inside zone there is that comment where McDonald was like, well, it's not just going to be, inside zone 70 times a game or whatever he said, but like they are actually running more inside zone this year than last year, ironically. Grubb is accenting from shotgun inside zone with more like buck sweep instead of like counter and power, which I find interesting.
So John asks, does the heavy shotgun usage hamper the run schemes available and or potency of the run game? I mean, I spoke earlier about potential tendency breakers, or like the next wrinkles of the offense, unfurling, but not always running the running back this way in the gun and, tossing it to him out this way, doing some stuff where he runs that direction rather than always crossing the face of the quarterback, because obviously that's the disadvantage of shotgun. You have a directional tell. That would be a solution. But yeah, I think generally right now the heavy shotgun usage does hamper the run schemes a bit. That said, like, I wouldn't say the amount of scheme is the issue in the run game attack right now. They're doing quite a bit of stuff. They're still doing some under center runs, but they're also quite diverse schematically in terms of concepts. Like, they're conceptually diverse. And so when Monjombo asks, more to the point, what makes Seattle's run game relatively weak? Is it entirely O-line or does play calling factor in? It's not entirely anything. That would be such a nice solution. Griff is an actual shambles. Do not forget, this is the podcast where Griff said he had this ridiculous preamble about how reading instructions was great and he had a fix and he can't even stay connected to a very basic stream for more than like 2 minutes. At him. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the run game. We'll never know what Griff wanted to say. Let me just check he's okay. Might be a bigger disconnection. Does running out of shotgun also benefit more to K9's run style as opposed to Zach Charbonnet's? I hadn't thought of that. I think generally Nathan Walker is perhaps more scheme-proof. Like, in some ways, you'd want Walker under center where he can, like, hit it, downhill, and then they all get sucked, into this A-gap area and then bounce it to the perimeter, and they're all coming to the inside. They're all approaching the inside of the formation, and then he bounces it to the edge with his speed, and he sucks them in, and then beats them to the corner. But I think Walker's more diverse in that when he's in the gun, he's able to still be agile and creative and burst. Whereas what the gun does for the back is you have less room, don't you? Like, if you're 7 yards behind your quarterback, you have more room to, like, more of a runway, right? Always remember, great example of this, and I don't think Charbonnet is like this, but remember when Chip Kelly tried to run loads of shotgun with DeMarco Murray? Was that his name? DeMarco Murray? But he was amazing, and obviously running back's age, like, not great, bad wine. But he looked really good when they were doing their under center wide zone stuff, and then they tried to put him in the shotgun with the Eagles, and they went up tempo, and it's just a mess. Here's Griff again though. But yeah, I think there's something to shotgun suiting Charbonnet a bit less than Walker, but I think Walker's just a more creative back in general. But yeah, Charbonnet under center, probably do prefer it. That said, they do pull some guys, which suits Charbonnet.
I would think that I think they drafted Charbonnet for shotgun because he feels out the backside of the wash so well. And
Really?
inside, well, he did at UCLA anyway. I mean, I think that was the theory behind him. I mean, to me, like, I think that Walker was supposed to be the outside zone back and Charbonnet is supposed to be the inside zone back, to like oversimplify. The way that Carson could feel out the backside and just get north immediately off of the bend read, where you bend backside and just get those efficient 3, 4, 5 yards, like your median run being in the 3.5 to 4.5 range. I think that's what they wanted him for, was for the efficiency, not the explosives. That said, they're both like decent at all of it. It's just one guy's slanted toward one thing. That's my view of it. But I mean, Charbonnet was in a shotgun pistol heavy scheme, and at UCLA, right? But I don't know. I mean, at this point, they're in the NFL. They need to be able to run out of both formations. So
Yeah, if you there's a play in the under center bucket for Charbonnet where he like makes one too many cuts and he like runs himself out of about 4 yards.
yeah,
So this is forcing a base look via, you have 12 personnel, so you got your 2 tight ends, so you get base defense from the Dolphins and what looked like very much just cover 4, right?
yeah.
This was one of the few under center play actions. The Dolphins did a good job covering it. Sadly, also again, what we were saying about this in theory should be easier because you're full sliding, you're pass pro with this split action to double this guy, but it should be easier. But they're maybe again, like we're saying, because they're having less practice at it, but they're not very good at it. Like they allow pretty quick pressure on this. Like Geno has time to read nothing really.
Right.
Like he's moved off his spot and look where the routes are. The Dolphins do a good job on the back end, I think, passing this off. But
yeah, really good job. And they're running what, deep mesh there, essentially, or it's
yeah,
like spear
I think
cross.
I wonder if this is a read for DK, where it could be that, or if this guy's on top and this safety's shallow, he can take it like that.
Could be. Wouldn't he be the one to go over the top though in that scenario?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to draw. Like
He
that,
goes,
right?
yeah, but he goes underneath JSN though.
Oh, he does?
I think. Let's play. Nope. No, he does go underneath.
Yeah, that's I guess that's interesting. Maybe like maybe they knew that because this guy would climb for a deeper route after passing that off. Like they're essentially doubled, and then there's the window here.
Yeah. Anyway, but if they cover it up, that means you've run the coverage off, and your check down might have a lot of room, right? At least in theory.
Right, because this guy is on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this.
So they pick up 10, right?
Yeah, it's a nice chunk.
Maybe 11, 12.
And it's interesting seeing Barner get some playing time. I remember tweeting early on that I thought this was like Barner taking Noah Fant snaps, but that did not really come to fruition.
No.
Given Fant had like his joint most targets as a Seahawk, it was 6.
Right. But I had thought the same thing in real time as well.
And there's definitely a sense to me that in terms of early down tight ends, and they'll have to be careful they don't tip their hand too much, but Pharaoh Brown and AJ Barner, I think, are going to play on more first and second downs than Fant as the season progresses, because Fant cannot be relied upon as a blocker.
No, I agree. It's kind of a weird situation there.
Now, I think Pharaoh Brown has a good block on this play, but he was on the verge of holding. I think he got called for one hold. Yeah, he's on the verge of holding a few plays in this game. Maybe just getting up to speed, because I know he was signed for his blocking ability. I think Schneider called him one of the best run blockers in the league.
Mm-hmm. So I like this play. You get quarters, contours again, pre-snap, and they hold the look post-snap.
Did they do a shift? And yeah, cool shift again, which again feels very reminiscent of Shotty, but shifting this guy in line. Corner was out here, so you're knowing it's zone. Sorry, you're saying about Geno, Griff?
Well, what Geno does in this play is really cool, because right when he moves off the pressure, well, it's supposed to look like a half boot to redirect the defense a little bit. But when he works to Tyler, Long is starting, the mic is starting to melt to the field hash. And then Geno, to get him back, he turns his shoulders toward the boundary side, and then that pulls Long, and then he creates the window for Lockett to nestle down in. And it's another like deep mesh play, but then you got an outside post as well. So right there, look at Long melting back to the boundary. So that's Geno creating in structure with that little right. So right there, he wants to throw this to Tyler right now, but he waits a beat to make sure that Long doesn't keep melting. And gets it in there. So I like the play call. One, I like that they ran that concept out of shotgun. That's a cool way to diversify your tendency, right? Because that's a play they'd run from under center or pistol.
It's also I really like this play. I enthused about it in my notes, because it's very hard to cover up for a defense, because we saw how they handled the last play, where when they had the deep mesh, they wanted this guy who's responsible for two vertical to pass it off to this guy, and maybe pass it off to this guy, and this guy's then going to pass this off to this guy. When they're passing off routes like this, you can easily, and we saw how DK going underneath may have got open earlier, if the protection had been there for Geno, but instead he checked it down into the flat. Well, then this is a more obvious underneath route, and I love how it just nestles in the hole of the zone. Like, this guy's expanded out. He's got this in the flat. The hole in the zone is this sort of box in between the deep quarter, and they're worried about DK on the post. This guy's, as I said, they're passing guys off. This guy's picked off this crosser. There's the hole, and then as Griff said, the concept worked, but as Griff said, Geno did a great job of making sure David Long didn't make the play. Do you think I wondered if he was thinking about throwing this.
Oh, you think? Interesting.
I just wondered.
Yeah.
It's tempting, right? It's the way it's the way he holds it out, and he sort of knows Tyler's going to stay open. He's like right in the hole.
Could be right.
But anyway, the end zone might be interesting. You can see, watch number 11. I think that would be a good guy to watch.
Yep. Right there. Boop.
Yep. Geno's got him on skates.
That's really Phillip Rivers right there. Very Phillip Rivers. Geno puts it right on him. Professional thrower of the football.
And working within the pocket, right? Like, that's by no means a bad pocket, to be clear, but it is, pockets aren't always going to be that perfect U shape, are they?
Right. They're not always
or
going to be
C shape. Yeah. And
That's
so
true.
working with the drop back and then sliding and then getting yourself a good platform and looking this guy to open his hips the wrong way and then
Boom.
perfect.
Thanks for playing. See, if I was, why don't middle linebackers at any play action concept they get if the ball's on the hash? Why don't they just run to the field hash every single time? I don't get it. Just no matter what the quarterback does, the quarterback's going to lie to you. Just run a diagonal path 12 yards downfield to the field hash, and you'll shut down like 2/3 of their offense.
And John pointing out 2 beautiful pancakes by the tight end and Connor Williams. So this is Pharaoh Brown, and this is what they're envisioning when they signed him. Like, that's an
So
edge rusher, and he uses his momentum against him.
keep this in mind, though, for when it inevitably doesn't work, and everyone goes, "Oh, who thought blocking an end with the tight end was a good idea?" It's football, man. You can't run blocking schemes without the tight end blocking someone important on occasion.
I thought is Tomlinson worried about Brooks here? He's so tentative. You'd think he'd just run all the way through and knock this guy over. Guess you don't want to chip him off the block, but
that is a very cool. I mean, pull action. I mean, you do that to like influence the linebackers to make them think it's a run, right? But that's also it's an
11
interesting
sort
way.
of falls back with it.
Right. It's an interesting way to deal with like weak side pressure, though.
Well, this is one of
Especially for those teams.
Yeah, and this is one of the right because they often bring the will right through the B, or the B, like that. But this is one of these things that Grubb and Huff did at UW. They'd occasionally just pull the guard for play action, and it would be enough of a protection wrinkle to help them out. Because it essentially means that they can. It's not a full slide. Well, it is a full slide, kind of, right? It's like slide around. It just gives them a different look, different appearance, different type of block, different way of being able to pass pro, which I think must be nice. It means you're not overexposed.
All right. Under center again.
Yeah, so this is a tough rep, I think, for everyone, really.
Yeah,
I didn't know what JSM was meant to be doing here. It's like he thought. Yeah, I don't know.
So this is inside zone, right? From under center, the rare inside zone, or is it?
I think it's inside zone, but
Yeah, it's definitely inside zone. Now that's interesting that they ran inside zone from under center because you rarely see it anymore. I'm trying to think, why did they feel compelled to do that?
Yeah. Big thing Grubb has been trying to do, particularly when running like a play which is
actually.
What? Why?
Well, because you would normally run duo out of this formation, so inside zone is kind of like the complement call.
Right, because duo would be, whereas inside zone is. Wait, let me draw that properly. Duo would be, whereas inside zone is.
And then you even have Geno opening as though it's a duo handoff.
Right. Yep.
Interesting.
Now, yeah, so a big thing Grubb's been doing is formation-wise is creating a nub, and then either they'll pull towards the nub and run gap like this, or they'll do the duo thing that we just drew up, where we're gonna make this corner make a tackle or become involved in the run fit, or it's the zone play where the cutback can be to this C gap crease. But essentially create a softer edge by getting the receiver out of there, and making it a nub formation where the tight end's the outermost guy on that side. That's a big part of his run game. It has worked. In this game, it was less successful.
So who doesn't get blocked on this one?
Well, Pharaoh Brown's like lay out the blocks, and he gets away with a hold. To be honest,
Bradford gets.
see, look, this is weird, Griff. This type of
They want they want that crease off of Forsyth though. I
yeah,
think.
it's just such a hard job for him to unlock his hip to go back out. I know
Yeah.
it doesn't. I know the back's cutting back, but and even Williams, the way he fully two hand shoves that guy, and then he can't get back to 11.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my point was. The one player I really didn't get was JSN.
Well, it's split action, so they want the backside to think about the little slide route to the flat, right?
Why isn't he block number 8?
Maybe he's pure influence. I mean, are you wondering why is he not blocking 15 Phillips?
I think he thinks about it, but then doesn't.
I think because he thinks he's getting so much depth and that Pharaoh Brown's on him.
But then block number 8.
Yeah. We'll see. Jason doesn't really like to block, so.
Well, you can tell.
Yeah. He'll have one occasionally good one, but he probably got now that they're a culture of accountability, he probably got chewed out by Mr. Grubb in the film room.
Brandon saying if they hand that to Bobo, he's getting 20 yards. That is an interesting point. They didn't really believe Bobo was getting that ball, did they?
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll run that exact look again and then actually jet the ball there. All right, so I had a lot of questions about this play. So it's a stick concept front side, right?
Oh, so hold on. Let's get the shifts in. It is. I wondered if they thought they had man coverage here. So.
Well, if they had man, why did he open to the stick side and not what was going on backside?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's an interesting shift, guys, because his JSN shifting along. That's followed by their nickel. So it could be man, could be zone. Then they shift Fant here. So essentially they've put the tight end from where the running back was to the other side and the receiver from away from the running back to the running back. So you're revealing a lot about the defense. You're revealing their safety rotation. You might be forcing a check for them, but ultimately you're telling them whatever's happened before. It's one high, and it's either man or zone. Based on the corner alignment, it looks like zone.
So my question is, backside, is that like a wrap concept with really bad spacing, or is it actually choice? And this
looked like choice. This looked like, I don't know, bad spacing.
So, with choice, they paired it with a dig route sometimes, and that might be just like a faux dig route to give the choice route space. But that said, normally you read the choice side first, and then you progress to the backside, which is usually going to be the three receiver side. With Charbonnet in fast motion, that becomes the three receiver side.
But we got confused about choice before, though, because Geno in the past has sometimes left it like this and hit it back on the backside.
Does that mean he's just opening to that side because he decided pre-snap he didn't really like the choice side? because choice is supposed to be a full field read with 5 out, whether it's empty or 2x2 with the running back in motion becoming 5 out post snap.
I'm not sure I can answer, to be honest.
What
I think he just thought, spacing wise, this is pretty tight looking. It's to the boundary, to the field. We have this guy's going to expand out, we think, and then we've got this on Jordan Brooks.
Yeah, so it's
just better space.
Yeah. I guess so.
But it's not.
Yeah.
Also, because this guy's a tight end.
I guess yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Just going to say, I guess what I'm getting at is I think that a lot of what last year when they had 5 out stuff, so all 5 guys are in the pattern, they let it be. It was very much a full field progression with a lot of it. Now it feels more pure half field.
See, I don't know if would you be saying that if they actually had pass pro, because Geno's decision not to throw this ball's correct in that this is coming, this guy can play that. The check down is, that could be a thing, but realistically, you might not throw that and you just come backside, right?
Yeah, maybe.
But look, he's Bradford's beat now. Like, it's over.
Yeah. I just wonder why. So do you think he's actually trying to move the linebackers to get to the choice?
I wondered.
Okay.
I wondered.
Because he's doing a lot of that this game, right? He's doing
there's a lot of hard shoulder looking here. Crap. With the confidence, like he knew pre-snap that, like, coverage-wise, what he was getting single high, and they probably have some pretty aggressive pushing with the fast 3, right?
Yeah. So maybe he was reading choice first in the back of his mind, but he wanted the defense to think he wasn't, so that he could whip back to JSN. Because if he whips back to him right here and hits JSN in stride, then it's 1-on-1 with the middle safety upfield. Maybe the corner gets there and tackles him at the 25.
Yeah, the corner plays so far off as well. Yeah. And you've also got DK in front as a blocker.
So right there, JSN catches the ball right there. That would be interesting.
And at that point, Geno is actually, it's hard to know if he starts looking there because he feels the pressure or if he's actually just looked.
Yeah.
David Long had a really difficult game.
Yeah, he should not play. We both tweeted it independently. He should not be playing Mike. He should be playing Will, and Jordan should be playing Mike.
I guess, like, in their system, the Will sometimes gets more like, you need to be an athlete, assignments.
Yeah.
And Long isn't that athletic, but, like, at the same time, you have plays where Brooks is not in the weak hook and stuff. It's like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think he opens here, Griff, knowing he can still hit this backside. If you don't look to the pushed side first, this guy's not overexpanding like this. He's staying on this hash, and then that's a much tighter window through, especially by the time you look back to it.
Right, because with choice against cover 3, you've got there's compression leverage. You've got double coverage, in and out coverage on it.
Right.
So he's trying to create room into that weak curl area. So yeah, I agree with you that he's just screwing around with the linebackers.
Yeah, and this is just the tough.
Yeah, come on, man.
Bradford's just not.
Neither guard can be on an island. Whoever is being slidden away from is just not good.
Yeah, and that's the dilemma. So as Griff said, the slide happens here. So we've basically helped out Laken Tomlinson because we're double teaming the guy in front of him. That means, though, we're on islands here and here. So we are man to man on this 3 technique. And it's just a tough rep for Bradford.
I mean, if you're a guard, you got to play things inside out. Give up the outside before you give up the inside. You can't.
Thing about
You cannot leave Main Street wide open.
and the thing
You
about
can't. You
Bradford
can't leave the
is
Champs Elysees wide open. I meant to
the
say.
thing about Bradford is, you know, he's a fourth round pick. He was a fourth round pick for a reason. He is just 23 years old still, and he has a highlight tape, right? And there are highlight blocks from him,
Yeah.
which is hard to quit. Like he's got a lot of power. The reason he's playing over their current third round pick is because of his power. I mean, Ryan Grubb said it. He came out and said it. But the heavy feet, that might be something which you can't fix. It was a problem last year, and I don't know how much you can improve on it. Yeah. But also, yeah, at a certain point, you need to, as a play caller, help, like, recognize that's a problem and start doing things to help them more. Like the amount of 5-man pass pro sliding away from Bradford, maybe that has to come down.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is a cool swing screen.
Yeah, very cool. A cool way of getting into it because formation wise, this does not scream to the defense, oh, we're screening for this guy. The only way, well, even the split of this receiver doesn't, right? Like if I was the defense looking at this, the only way I'd see a screen as possible from here is this guy catching the ball, him blocking, and then a run fake in here, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very uncommon. It's a unique type of screen, you'd say, like to push this guy out, and then you're thinking, oh, it's a pass play, as in like downfield, and then like a pin pull type thing here, right? Which is which is really cool.
And so then you put it on the running back to handle the unblocked guy.
Right, and he's to the outside. He has a long way to run.
Yeah. See, JSN kind of screws it up, though.
His aiming point's wrong, right? Like his aiming point should be here.
It needs to be the low hip, not the high hip.
Near foot, near shoulder, near hip.
Oh, what is he doing?
What's he doing? Man. He doesn't want to block people.
Well, it's like he thinks.
No, he doesn't.
It's like he's
turning away from the contact.
Well, I think he's afraid that he's going to work over the top of them.
Yeah, he thinks Charbonnet's here almost.
Oh man, dude. See, this is a problem. Like the whole league right now, no one can block on the perimeter. Like nobody can. I don't know why.
Something DK Metcalf said was a point. Oh no, maybe it's Tyler Lockett. One of the receivers this past week said it was a point of emphasis, their perimeter blocking.
The Bears fans are livid with Shane Waldron. They have, because their success rate on screens is 25%. Would you like to know the Seahawks success rate on screens this year?
Sure.
16%.
Okay.
All right. Here's the Buck sweep play. Are we calling this Buck sweep?
Yeah, sure. But again, another example of what I was saying, guys, about how Waldron creates nub sets.
You mean Grubb?
This is Waldron. Shut up.
You said Waldron.
I know I did. I'm telling myself to shut up. You shut up about Waldron for one episode. Would it be so much?
Yep.
He's gone. It's over. You don't need to fight this fight.
For the record, I'm not a Waldron guy. I'm an ethics and offensive coordinator discourse guy.
Right, brilliant. So Grubb likes creating these nub formations, which makes this guy come into the fit or have to show up a bit more. Creates a softer edge, which you can run the zone cutting back into it. You can run running back bouncing out into it and making the corner tackle, or you can run pullers to really accent your advantage on that soft edge, which is what we see here, where for all intents and purposes, this is what I was talking about, the Dolphins making mistakes on the first drive, which kind of made the run game look better than it actually ended up being for the large parts of the game where they just completely couldn't do anything. David Long here, this is just it's crazy because they're playing, and to be fair to him, this is probably poor preparation from the defense, and again, it's why this is a tricky formation because it's a nub set. So I think they've probably got a check for this type of look, where basically we're on this, go in one gap this play. But yeah, just watch Long here. He's lost. He's like playing like for the RPO, which I don't think that would be his responsibility. Anyway, good run.
Yep. Good way to attack the C-gap bubble. You get a free climber because Pharaoh Brown is uncovered. So he gets to work to the will in this equation, Brooks.
Brooks makes one hell of a play, but Long leaves him. Watch Jordan Brooks here. He takes out 3 people, I think. 2. But he kind of ends up
Long
doing what the edge. I don't understand. This is something which we'll talk about the defense as well. Mm-hmm. But this Ravens system, they box everything.
Yeah.
So when we say box, chat, we mean this guy takes it on with his inside shoulder staying outside in on the play, which means he gets pushed out and no one's taking out this, and the back can cut up inside of these blocks. Whereas if he were to take it on with this inside shoulder or take it on thicker but get to the inside of the block, that would cause a pile here, and there would not be that same type of crease. There'd be no room because it would all squeeze up and then it'd bounce out, and then it would give time for these guys to get over the top and keep this guy out.
Matty, when you watched the Ravens run defense regression last year, and it was particularly against pull scheme, do you think gap scheme in particular, do you think it was in large part because they were boxing the kick out and not spilling the kick out? Was that a piece of the puzzle?
I think part of it, yeah. But oh gosh, I thought you disappeared again.
No.
Your tutorial. No.
Good patience from Charbonnet.
What do you think Long is actually coached here?
He's worried about his pass key. Well, he's probably worried about a field play action concept again because it's shotgun. They're on the ball's on the hash, on the seam, right? I mean, look at him. He's all of his body language. His eyes are in the backfield, but his body is trying to get to his pass key. So, hey, that's play action setting up the run right here in real time. That's what we're witnessing. Look, Long is thinking about JSN right now. Boom, too late. You're a step late. You're done. Brooks's point. Brooks knows exactly what's coming, dude.
Yeah, he plays it almost too good considering how slow his teammate is.
Fanta to have a chance on this. Brooks explodes. And then Miami couldn't cross face either. Like 90.
Yeah, he almost does, but yeah.
That's Cross. That's Cross making a play too.
Great block from Cross, yeah.
He's so much stronger this year. That was the same thing.
Been eating right.
Been eating right, talking to the right people.
Going to the right gyms.
Going into the right gyms. But that was him at MSU too. Like he got stronger through from his sophomore year to junior, which you'd expect, but there was a huge jump. And then he'd also get stronger throughout games too. He always gets better as time goes on, in the micro and the macro.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is like Grub's main gun quick game. So what Griff would and analytics companies chart as 3-step drop, but from the gun it's often 1 step. This is his main concept that I can recall, where it's basically mirrored outs and then a hitch, or it can be a stick route where he has the option to nestle down. But it's that right, Griff?
Mm-hmm.
Now we can talk about this is very effective because especially against these types of teams, and it helps being kind of spread out. I think this is a bust from the Dolphins, to be honest. Again, I spoke about how the first drive was easy for Seattle because Miami just didn't look ready. But they're fire zoning here.
Yeah.
Brooks plays like he's the middle hook in a middle field open defense. They're missing whoever was meant to be here. It might have been Brooks not getting the call and needing to be more aggressive to his number 2.
Yeah.
It could have been knowing this type of play and how Seattle runs it. Remember, these are the same defenses. I have a feeling this guy's meant to drop. I think it was meant to be a sim. Just everyone else plays like a sim.
Yeah, I thought maybe Brooks, that's a good question because I wondered the same thing. I thought Brooks maybe opened strong because he saw Charbonnet work across the formation like a final 3 thing. I think he thought maybe 3 to the flat. And therefore he would open up to the crosser from JSN if there was a crosser. But yeah, a bust ultimately.
Good job from Charbonnet. Like, that's a tough... You scanning this guy, you're scanning this guy, and you're working to that. That's a tough block cross and face. And it's easy for Geno. It's like pitch and catch. But the guy who does a great job here is Jake Bobo. Because if you watch DK's route here, he just runs an out. I believe Bobo has the option. But if Bobo had run an out here, then that corner is closer to this route. But what Bobo does is he outside release fades, which fully ensures that this guy's run off because he's a cover 2 corner and he's trying to get over the top and outside and get hands on this type of release to buy time for him. And it just widens and deepens this guy out of this window, which is a really big window. He should never be getting in it anyway.
Right? It's a read, right, from Bobo. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. So
if cloud convert to fade, yeah.
Right. A must outside release, yeah. And you see how the corner gets caught up with that.
Mm-hmm. So quick game got going this game.
Yeah. Kind of.
Kind of. I mean, there were at least positive examples after there not being positive examples. All right, under center again.
That's almost beautiful.
Yeah, and this is where if Charbonnet had like 5% more speed, he breaks through there.
There's like no juice after this.
Good movement from Forsyth, big time, and Bradford.
So Forsyth had a really good game, right? Like that's one massive positive. He's coming up against Aiden Hutchinson next, but that's exciting.
Well, I'll say it like Hutchinson is the type of guy that he does well against.
Well, and did do well against last year, right?
Yeah. It's the like the strength finesse guys he does well with, but like the pure speed to power guys he has issues with. Hutchinson is not a speed to power guy. He's a finesse guy, a big body finesse guy. But
front side, Griff, look how turned they are. This isn't like a standout thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, no, it is. It is.
They're really trying to get this first level like knockback.
That horizontal displacement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Which I guess with how teams try and play heavy with their D tackles makes sense. Just whack them out the gap and then...
Yeah.
Like, he's playing so thick that he's almost coming into my area anyway, so I might as well knock him back out.
But it makes it releasing to the second level more difficult, right?
Yeah,
Is that
so
where you're going
that's my
from?
point, yeah. But then I guess they're sort of thinking, well, if we whack him into where the guy was, then we'll just cut off it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like the ball fitting maybe
Yep.
makes
That's a
it
good block from
more
Fant,
valid.
by the way.
Yep. Yeah,
Like
that's pretty.
Fant works really hard to get front side leverage to reach him.
Yeah.
And then he just holds the line. So good for him.
And they're gapped out here, the Dolphins. Are they?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
No,
They're playing it almost like they are.
They're kind of getting the nickel involved a little bit, yeah. All right, so this nub trips formation is interesting because 3's off the ball, like way off the ball. I think they want us because it's the 3-man is the motion guy when they use motion out of this, right? So they want him furthest off the ball.
Yeah, he can do that.
So it's cool that off of this formation look, they're not afraid to send 3 vertical like they do here. And frankly, they have a touchdown here to Chenault.
Yeah, and the indicator right now is a nub formation. The indicator is that Jalen?
Yeah, I think he was sleeveless.
Yeah, it is Jalen. So the indicator's zone, and it plays out very odd. Like, I think it might just be straight man.
Yeah, it looks like man.
So that's a bit funky because generally, formation wise, you'd be expecting cover 3.
Mm-hmm.
The way Geno reads it out is like he's trying to throw the slot fade. Like and well, I don't know. Because you'd
Nothing
think
makes sense at the bottom for it not to be man.
Oh no, I think it's man to man. I'm wondering what Geno's process was. Maybe he saw this carry and then thought this
Trying to
guy
move
would
the
come in the
safety.
window if he starts look. Yeah, so then it's I know I've got this, so I'm gonna throw that. Obviously, the pressure kills it.
Yeah, but you think he's trying to move the middle safety?
Yeah,
To
because
the
I think
field to open up Chenault?
because like for this to clear,
Yeah.
with Geno still looking there, I don't think happens.
No.
Even though it looks wide open now, right? But like it looks wide open now because Geno's here and the middle safety's here,
Yeah.
and even this guy's peeking back.
Right. So you see how the
Oh no. Have we lost Griff again? What a shame. Let me catch up with the chat until Griff comes back. This is bizarre. Look at Frozen Griff. I'll remove him. Oh dear. Geno is carrying the offense, says Brendan. There is an element of that. There really is. Yeah, so basically what we know about Grubb's offense is whenever they get like man to man, they're gonna try and throw a slot fade. Geno barely has time to read this out, but JSN doesn't particularly get open. This is pretty good coverage. Obviously, if you throw a back shoulder, there's always going to be an opportunity, but for covering a slot fade, that's pretty good position maintenance. And he works back pretty well here as well. But obviously the problem here is Tomlinson has his bad rep on the day. So, I mean, I doubt Geno even had a second to think, really. You're just checking the safety rotation. You're seeing how they've dropped out here, and then you're like, oh crap, I'm in trouble here. What happens next is incredible. DK Metcalf spoke about how he'd been working on this in the off season and training it. His contested catches is something we've criticized him for on the pod. I think it's been a valid criticism. The fact he's worked on it shows he himself was aware of it. Of course, he's in a season where he could earn a significant payday. Like if he can make these catches and he adds this to his game and he can start converting that to even more yards and even more touchdowns, that's how I think DK Metcalf can, he could become the highest paid receiver in the league. It's not out of the question if he can do this every week. Sorry, Griff.
No.
What were you saying about this play?
I was saying, I think how we can see how the protection is really capping the ceiling of the team. Like big time. Yeah,
this play, and that's why this first drive is amazing, right? Because, and it goes to my point about during the game, the stall happened, and we haven't even showed the stall, but the stall happened because this was going on still, the protection issues were going on, and the penalties became a thing. On this drive, how many penalties have there been? None. And how much? And they've been able to overcome stuff. Oh, and Geno's been able to get out the pocket, and DK's been able to make an incredible catch. They've had a bit of everything to keep the drive alive, keep moving the ball.
It would be fun. I mean, the sample size won't be super big, but it would be cool to see the points per drive on drives with, say, like one penalty or less or fewer versus drives with 2 or more penalties, just to see what that looks like.
DK spoke about, when he was saying about how he'd worked on this contested catching as well, he spoke about waiting for the ball, because you know how he'd snatched at it in previous years? I found his waiting for the ball comment interesting.
Yeah. Like late hands, you mean?
Well, and I think also I kind of took it to mean not like clapping at it, but like just, waiting for the ball to hit his hands.
Yeah, instead of trying to hit
snatching
the ball with his hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soft hands, right? I mean, he doesn't have soft hands historically. Now, this was an interesting what Miami's doing here.
This is a bust, I think.
You think so? Because you've got both linebackers gap charging.
Well, this is insane, because where's the B gap?
Right. And I thought maybe they're
actually insane.
Maybe they're trying to protect the B gap via both the front side players two gapping, because they are two gapping. The edge and the one are two gapping.
But you think who's two gapping?
The 2i is, at least.
Yeah, so you'd think though that the 2i would know I need to win here. Like he doesn't.
Is it a slow slant or something? Like, why does he do that right there?
Yeah, his helmet here doesn't make sense. If his helmet had been here and he just couldn't get off the block, then I'd kind of get it. But again, I spoke about busts. This to me comes off almost as a bust.
Yeah, and good job from Connor to pick up Brooks and slam him to the ground really quick.
And this type of stuff dried up for Seattle, where like Miami straight up didn't have a guy in the primary hole.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, you're always going to be able to run the ball when stuff like this goes on.
Right.
We've been going for so long already. Should we, we've got to do a Lions preview. Should we quickly cycle? How much time have you got?
I can keep going.
Oh, hell yeah. No, I'm fine. It's fine. I can be a degenerate. I've got a bit more coffee left.
What are we trying to look at now, though? Defense?
Yeah, I think we should look at the defense, because I've got these clips on, like, there's some... Oh, you can see all of my documents. Amazing.
Are we looking at run defense or pass defense?
Pass defense.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got some good clips, some good quotes on that.
Nice.
And I think there's some positives as well.
Okay. Good. I mean, yeah, obviously they gave up 3 points. There's going to be positives.
But positives to the intermediate pass defense.
To the negatives, right? We're
So
going to positively accent the negative aspects.
not the documents. Yeah, eagle-eyed people would have noticed some interesting files there. Right. We did get a donation. I completely missed it. Nobro saying, "No, thank you so much, Nobro. Noticed most of Geno's big games are on the road. In domes.
So
Dome Geno.
at home, and then on the road in domes, but then outdoor road games, especially November, December, Geno stats take a hit.
Yeah,
That's where it would make sense to pivot to run heavy play action stuff, but I digress.
Right. So let's cycle through some of these clips.
All right, so pre-snap, they're spinning to cover 3. They're showing too high. They're spinning to cover. Go ahead.
I felt they did a pretty good job, especially early, of playing like 3 bars, which this guy's coming into a hook, and this spinning from the depth is by no means revolutionary, but he tended to be in an awkward window for the race route. Sometimes they do it to the receiving strength, sometimes they do it away. Here it's technically away, but I felt they had pretty good race route layers when they played 3 bars.
Yeah.
From courtesy of the safety in the hook, and I feel McDonald did a great job of however his system's doing it in terms of, are we doing it off passing strength? Are we doing it off field boundary? Are we doing it, before the shift? However he did it, he got the ingredients fairly correct. I felt though this is obviously not a race route. This is like a good way of conflicting the flat defender. It's interesting to me that he felt he needed to come here though.
Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the run fit, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, because cover 3, right? If I'm a curl flat defender, so if I'm Devin Witherspoon, if I'm Tyrese Knight, and Mike McDonald spoke about this in his press conference this past week, my pass coverage takes me to my run fit. So who's my pass coverage in cover 3 if I'm a curl to flat defender? It is the number 2 receiver, which is this guy, number 1, number 2. I'm responsible essentially for the final number 2. And Tyrese Knight has 2 guys out here. So really, if you're wanting to cover this play, how you tell him is, I'm not in the run fit. Play your coverage. Let your coverage take you to the run fit. If I'm Devin Witherspoon, my number 2 has gone over here, so I communicate the motion, and then my number 2 is this guy or this guy, and my eyes can, and my alignment and my assignment can be backfield oriented. And really, if you're fitting this in a logical sense, Griff, it would be bump out, bump in, bump in, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're playing from depth, which makes it a bit more difficult. Everyone else plays it proper, I'd say, other than Dodson's kind of... Yeah, I guess he plays it proper because he's seeing that the tackle's down, so he knows that the edge can handle that and he can fit here. We've got this and this. But Knight is...
Well, from Knight's perspective, it's who is his 2? Because with the jet wheel...
Yeah, like in previous years, Seattle would have that guy carry this, right?
Or sometimes not.
Or just zone, get more depth in the zone here.
So are you saying that with the jet motion that he's pulled out of the run fit?
Yeah.
Okay.
He should whatever they decide, whether he just plays like a pure zone or whether he runs with the wheel, which Tyreek Hill and Tyrese Knight, even with this guy helping, is not a great
Yeah.
look. Either way, he should not be having to worry about this, and it's unsound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Agreed.
against a better team will become a bit of an issue. It just will.
Now, do you still think Dodson bites too much? I mean, this is a really tough concept from
Yeah, this is
McDaniel.
nasty. This is like, is it an RPO?
It might be.
I
I mean,
think
look at
so.
the blocking.
I think
That's
so.
that's like real commitment to the run from the O-line.
Yeah.
Either way, there's zero curl presence. So
Oh goodness, zero curl presence. Now Skylar Howard was so poor in this game, and I know he's on the road, and I know his job is to not turn the ball over, but he was so bad in this game that if I was Miami, I would be like, well, I know they're got quarterback issues, but I would not want him as my backup next year. Put it that way.
yeah, I expected a little bit more from him.
Well, like, just throw the damn ball. Like,
Yeah, throw it, dude.
throw it on time. Just throw the ball. It's okay.
He's scared. He's scared. So that's the thing when vet backups play, they don't play scared ever. They're not afraid of anything. Like, remember Kellen Clemens against the Seahawks Rams 2012 or 13? He did not play well, but he did not play scared. He was like 32. He didn't give a shit. He was like, whatever.
How have I not got this? Have I not got the play? Oh no.
Is it one of those drift routes or like those post routes?
Yeah. I bigged it up as like a big like throw the ball Skylar Howard, and now I'm not even gonna find it. So I'm the fraud.
Is it the one where I said McDaniel's calling up Tom Brady?
Yeah, it was similar to that. Or
Because there's
do
a
you think
couple of those.
would Russell okay, so this is a good example of what I was talking about, where especially early they had good rotation. Like, so this is why they're, and I don't know what they're doing up front, but this is what I meant about having good safety rotation. This is cover 3 of some description. Into the race route window.
Yeah, good way to handle those routes.
So you can see this is a good decision not to throw from Howard, where he's, yeah.
Especially against pistol, right? So it was like that was the indicator. It was if we see pistol, we're playing buzz practically. Field buzz.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the other big thing. Maybe it could have been field rotation, to be fair. And I should say as well, like, big obvious takeaway is McDonald has such a good feel for what I mean. These have been poor offenses with like pretty poor quarterbacks, and some the Patriots, who had the best quarterback, had really bad receivers. But McDonald clearly has great feel for what opponents are doing.
Oh yeah,
and subtle tweaks to what he's doing in game to try and combat that. So it's like, it's obvious, but it's cool that play calling prowess has translated as a head coach. Like, we knew he was a good play caller, but now he's a head coach, first time head coach.
right.
It's cool. It's still a thing. It's
right.
not like become diluted. At least we haven't seen it. Do you think this is auto blitz, or is the reason I ask is because Spoon doesn't play. He I guess because they're worried about the perimeter stuff. Maybe he just doesn't play like a prototypical fire zone. But like this, he almost sail. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to think, because if you're playing what is essentially cover 3 robber.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
I want to find the damn. Well, I've got lots of other plays. I just don't know why my timestamp was wrong. Okay, yeah. Oh, he dropped the ball. Brilliant.
Draymond came alive this game, we should say.
Yeah, the pass rush is insane. Part of that's because they're like just playing pass rush, which that helps things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where the shenanigans begin. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay,
Man.
so defensively we have base. No, yeah, base. A base look. Now in base in particular, Seattle seems pretty weak. Just because I guess they can disguise a bit less. Teams tend to get a bit heavier and do play action like this. So like throw the ball. Oh, and he does.
Oh, this is the one where he does throw it.
That's the weird thing, though. He started with this success, and then he like stopped doing it. I guess this is the widest window.
Yeah. Yeah, he became less brave as the game went on. So
this is cover 3 where Drake Thomas, who I actually felt had a pretty good game when not doing the cover 3 stuff, like quarter flat as a will, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe palms on like 2 like up and out type of deal with safety help over the top. But here he is the strong hook, and he just like it's a tricky, it's some nasty crap going on, but he just is not there. Yeah,
he's gone.
He then adds on.
He's like, oh, I think that's coached. If they bite on the play fake and like they bite really hard, they might just say keep going because you're not going to robot out.
No, you can't. You can't panic. I guess you could, but yeah, probably not. Panic meaning to turn, run, and find this.
Panic is what Pete Carroll calls the robot technique, where you roll over and find it. So now, good angle from Love to cut the yak off.
Love's angles have been so good this season.
They've been very good.
They've been so good.
And I think coming downhill, they were last year too.
Take a look at.
He wasn't the deep middle safety last year, so we get to see much of it. I mean, Diggs' angles coming downhill on the pass were great also.
So take a look at this run just for an illustration of that. So 2nd and 4. And this is type of play where they should be in like deep crap. Like scheme wise, they should be in trouble. So it's crack toss. So we're crack back in here. We got the fullback on your corner. We got 2 high safeties out here. Seattle's in big nickel. So they're not playing Spoon there. They're playing Rayshon Jenkins down there, which that makes sense. But they do have Spoon as the primary force now that Maffei's been crackbacked. This is Julian Love, and the way he fits off this is superb. Jaron Reed also makes like a crazy play, but just the team pursuit and the way that everyone sticks to their gap after some tough moments is very good. This is very, very good team defense on a tricky run concept for the structure they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine, right? B gap, C gap, force, A gap, B gap. They're playing it like they're gapped out essentially.
Yeah.
So you can focus on a player each time. So if you watch Jenkins here, he bumps out and then he dips into his C gap, and him doing that is a presence to stop this cutting back.
Yeah.
If you watch Jaron Reed here, he's got the B gap as a 3 tech. He looks like he's reached initially, but he eventually runs it down outside, wins through, takes out a fullback.
So then Love correcting Dodson and then Reed correcting technically Jenkins. Well, kind of Mafe really. It's good. It's good late play discipline.
Yeah, I think Dodson's read here would be, first of all, crack back here, seeing that crack back on the edge, and then he fits off his new force, right? And his new force, Spoon takes the inside move to slip the fullback.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think Love is like, there's no one out here. I have to become the new force.
Right.
But that's like high level stuff because you're expecting in an ideal world that guy outside, right?
Yeah.
And Spoon should make the tackle. But for Love to get involved on the tackle like that, that's what leverage does. When everyone else is in the right spots, if you fit off them, it's very important. And Rayshon Jenkins spoke about the alley being a big emphasis. This is running the alley in this game. And he also said how safeties cap stuff on the defense, and that is capping stuff for sure.
Yeah. So that's a good play.
Right, let's go back to the not throwing stuff. Okay. But yeah, Julian Love's playing some really good football so far. There's one quarters play I'd be interested in what you thought, Griff.
Okay.
All right, so this is 2nd and 6. Now, I said there was a positive. The corners, especially after that first catch we just saw, the angles they were taking to in cuts were insane. Like, this is... Spoon had looked a bit slower. Do you remember the Patriots game? I think it was. He looked a step behind stuff.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
But this game, he was dialed in on it, and I think that's also split recognition, formation recognition. Now, this is pass rush. No, this isn't really pass rush. This is just Howard not wanting to be the guy, because I could argue there's a window here.
You mean Thompson? You mean the quarterback?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Do I keep calling him Howard? I think I do.
Who's Skylar Howard? Is that
That's West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Skylar Howard sounds like an English soccer player.
No, it doesn't. Skylar's a very American name.
Oh.
Yeah, we'd never call people Skylar.
Really?
Respectfully. Respectfully.
Interesting.
I know there's a massive, abysmal Skylar hatred on, Breaking Bad Reddits.
Yeah, that's
a whole separate issue. Right.
Yeah, it's like a really bad type of hate.
Throw the ball.
Yeah, throw the ball.
Coward.
But it's not the first window, it's the second window where he should anticipate Dodson flaring to the flat.
Yeah, anyway, but what they're actually doing is they're showing this, and then it's like they could actually throw that, right?
Yeah, all I can think about is Stafford, even Purdy are throwing this all game long.
Right, and he could hitch up and throw that.
And if people think we're being too negative about this component, right now, think about all the looks that have been turned down or not completed. For the ones that have been completed right now, the intermediate middle, so in between the numbers and in yards 10 to 20, okay, the Seahawks are 19th in EPA per pass. That's not horrible, but that's not good. And they're also worse at it than they were last year. And again, 3 games, not a big sample size, but it's 3 games against Skylar Thompson, Bo Nix, and Jacoby Brissett. So again, it's just to define what the weaknesses are. The weaknesses are, well, they're not a good team defending the pass over the intermediate middle. and they're not good fitting the run from too high. And this kind of bleeds into the Lions discussion. That's what the Lions do really well, those two things. Now, the Lions don't do well throwing outside the numbers. So that's playing into Seattle's obvious strength. They're average going deep, especially like deep over and stuff. And Seattle will handle that well because they've been doing that well. But the game will really come down to like how many dig routes is Goff going to hit? How many explosive runs do they generate on the ground when Seattle's in a too high shell? That's what it's going to come down to.
Well, you've just preempted the next segment.
I previewed the next segment.
Oh, a tease. I also, Griff, hate here the underneath spacing. Like, if this is a deep half, this is a quarter with fire zoning, right? If this is the final three player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going over here to the number. Let me get rid of all this. So the underneath is flat type player, right? Or like 2-player, and then I'm the middle final 3 player, which right? It's this guy. This is the 2.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
You mean like why is he pushing so hard to the boundary?
Yeah.
Because he's just keying the back 28 and he thinks I mean it's a when you play palms, you play a fire zone with palms and then cover 2. It's like a boundary flooded 3 deep 3 under.
That's true.
But there's no underneath help though, as you're saying. Like there's no top down coverage at all in this from an outbreaker from number 1 or an inbreaker from number 1.
Yeah. I mean, basically, last year Seattle with Bobby Wagner, who couldn't move, covered this type of stuff way better, especially in the first half of the season. But anyway.
But back to the intermediate middle thing. So imagine if they had played better quarterbacks, where would they be ranking in that figure? If they're 19th against the 3 probably top 5 easiest quarterback schedule so far in this area only, where would they rank in this area if Goff and Purdy and whoever was on the schedule, right? I mean, that's kind of like what I'm thinking about. So again, like they're doing so well at literally everything else against the pass. So I don't want to. No, I removed man coverage because that takes pressure off the linebackers and places it on the corners, which is kind of part of the point. But the last 3 years, if we look at the EPA per play column there that Matty has up on the screen, 2022 they ranked first in this. 2023 they dropped to middle of the pack, and then this year, well, I mean, just the numbers: 0.06 EPA per play 2022, 0.27 last year, 0.57 this year. So they're going backwards, and then also the success rate is increasing. So if we made any misgivings about the linebacker rostering, I mean, so far, this is kind of what we were talking about. A large piece of it, it's rearing its ugly head, like it's translating in a very tangible way. So again, some of it is scheme. There are tools they have, like McDonald showed this game with the field rotation, cover 3, getting the safeties involved. That mitigates a little bit, but how much can they do with that, right? We'll just have to wait and see. It's so good that they are so good where they are good. Like they're going to generate a lot of sacks. Hopefully they sack Goff like 4 or 5 times, and then get a pick or 2, and you will be able to survive the over the middle stuff. Now here's this is is this a creeper or a sim? It's a sim.
It's a creeper. Sorry.
Because they're showing.
Well, depends. I think they'd classify that as a creeper.
Okay. So it's a 4-man rush, right? But with a blitzer, 4-man rush, you're dropping.
Yeah, so all it is the same. Like, imagine that's the will, right? It's just a whip,
Yeah,
but this is actually your safety and it's dime personnel on the field. Kobe Bryant getting on the field, good for him. So idea is B gap, slant, drop this guy, um, or I actually think what and the beauty of McDonald's defense, right? It's the same concept, but they drop the three tech and then they rush here, right?
yeah.
Um,
And there's just no field hash presence when they do this if it gets blocked up.
I wondered, Mafe plays this so poorly that I wondered if he got confused and thought this was a fire zone because he plays like he is on the number 3 purely.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't drop like a strong hook. Like as soon as three's in, he just plays like he's right in the middle, and that
Yeah.
Spoon's playing this guy and we're playing this guy almost like man.
Well, remember Bo Nix and the dropped Cortland Sutton crosser? I mean, look, Mafe does work to the hash. He's just late, but this looks a lot like that dropped crossing route from Cortland Sutton, though.
Mm.
So when they get caught in this, it's if the O line picks up that weak side rusher, they're gonna have a
Which
huge strong hook problem.
they
In this
do
case,
a good job. They slide to the side.
yeah.
I wonder what McDonald's gonna do because he's shown this weak side guy going quite a bit. I wonder
Mhm.
what the next thing is. Well,
Oh,
it'll be sending the
next
strong
layer.
side guy, but I wonder when we get to see the next layer.
So
But no, but Maffei's drop drift. Look, it's looking at the. I guess he does look to the. He's so, but surely he'd immediately be thinking, "I need to be out here."
yeah, the
That's what
point,
weirds me out.
yeah, but even like forgetting about Mafe himself, this right here shows you how important it is to have good linebacker coverage in your spot drops because the corners are not going to be able to cover every single inbreaker. Like even if they have a good game doing it, they can't cover every single one of them. It's too tough. It's too hard. That's why zone coverage exists.
What do you
So
think of, and also Spoon playing down at the line to almost hint that he could blitz?
mhm,
It makes his job more difficult because rather than playing from 5 yards where he'd have time to vision both these guys and the QB, he is left in a catch-up mode where he gets a good reroute as he tries to get out to his landmark, which is like top of the numbers. But ultimately, he's left still kind of playing catch-up on Tyreek Hill, and he actually he kind of runs himself to nowhere. Whereas if he's playing from top down, he'd be able to read this out and get more in that window.
yeah,
Now this isn't, what's cool about McDonald is this is an end of half situation. And he calls the exact same play call on the next play. He just switches who's dropping. So, different presentation, of course, even front. And there's the play call again. This time, Derek Hall's dropping into strong hook. Not the best spacing again, but it affects the quarterback, speeds him up, and Hall's here, and he rallies to the quick throw to the flat and gets a massive hit.
God, Hall's so fast, man.
Yeah, see, he's just much more natural of a mover in space than Mafe.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just more fluid, right?
he's omnidirectional.
And McDonald has praised and talked up Hall's ability to be a dropper as well, and this is like
Mhm.
what he's as part of what he's seeing.
Yeah.
Um, now it's not
He,
just. Go ahead.
he is Daryl Taylor, or rather, Daryl Taylor as he should have been for
Yeah.
the. He is Derek Hall the White.
Okay, this is a play I wanted to ask you about.
Maddie, come on.
Julian Love.
The Lord of the Rings reference? No. Yes. No.
No, no, sorry.
Hmm.
So, is this cover 4, or is it palms, like or 2 read?
Uh, doesn't seem very palmsy.
It looks just like mod, right? Like
Yeah, because the way Trey stems a little bit,
Bales. Yeah,
like right,
there.
I mean, obviously he opens up because that would be Palms-esque, but right, I don't know. Maybe he gets eyes on two right at the last second. It could be.
I don't know. Like Love here. Surely one of them. I know it's Tyreek Hill, and I know he can. He's absolutely rapping. You don't want to give up the post. But why is Love opening like this when the QB's setting up? Like, surely he could. Now, in the past, Seattle have had safeties who are able to do that.
I don't know. That's tough though. This shows when a quarterback doesn't throw it, and you think, oh, is that really open?
Yeah, the timing's crazy here
This
compared to
just shows
how
you
it,
how like that is indeed open. And so we,
Thompson.
yeah,
I keep
Thompson.
calling him
But
Tom.
this is right here is this is an example of that what that stat captures. Dodson isn't getting to the field hash. Now, when you're the middle hook and quarters, you don't need to get to the hash itself. You can be like a yard inside it because he's not a strong hook, he's a middle hook. But still, he needs to get to like the 35, just a yard inside of it. And he's not there, man. And that's
Why?
something
Why is he stuck on the boundary hash as well and like bothered about this? As soon he should be like screaming here
sprinting, hauling ass to
because
the
also I guess three does go away in the flow, but like also where's
like
bloody
right
Tyreek
now.
Hill?
He should make the decision right now, as soon as he sees the quarterback with the ball still, to just see. The thing is that I don't know why, but Dodson overreads the quarterback all the time. His eyes are glued to the backfield, and he kind of forgets like what the pre-snap indicators are. At least it seems like it is. I just don't. I don't get it. But 2022, when Jordan Brooks played Mike, the Seahawks were first at defending stuff like this. First.
Oh,
That's not
this
an
is a good one.
exaggeration.
This is a good one.
Right there. Throw it.
Absolute.
So you have the same
What the
issue again. Look where Dodson is. Look where Dodson is. It's the same issue. And then Skylar Howard decides not to throw it.
I
What are
would
you doing,
I
bro?
would
Throw the
cut
ball.
him. I would cut him for this. But what we should say, and I said there was positives to this, right? This is unreal from Spoon. That is such a good break.
That's as good of a break as you can make, but that ball's still getting completed.
Of course, but it's unreal and split recognition. Now,
It goes to show you need top-down coverage. You need double
something to
coverage.
monitor as well is Seattle when they play base, which they are in here, right? They're like in. It's almost minty, right? Where it's this guy walked out, but essentially it's an underfront. Is it? No.
Well, it'd
Anyway,
be like
essentially this
Milford.
guy's walked out and they play cover two over here and they play quarters here. Okay, so that's way too deep for Mafe. But this guy's like the quarter flat player. So he's in here. I'm in a deep quarter zone. I'm in a deep quarter zone.
Yeah.
This is their this playing the run and playing the pass. They're not good at. They're not good in this at all. Mafe is not a good dropper. Like I'm ready almost to be like he should not be ever doing this. I know you need to try and be versatile, but
Nwosu's coming.
Nwosu can do it. Dow Taylor could. Tyus Bowser hopefully can.
Yeah.
Derek Hall can.
Taylor was actually really good at that stuff. Like
Yeah.
the coveragey aspects of being a 3-4 outside linebacker, he was good at that. Which he should be. He's 240 and he runs like a deer. Like that's not surprising. And he's pretty. I mean, Taylor was a smart zone dropper too. Like he knew what was going on around him. But whatever.
That's actually pathetic. How much does this guy get paid?
Boom, throw, dude. What are you doing?
And Griff, to the point on Dodson, would he not be looks? You're saying he pays attention to the quarterback so much. Would he not look better if the quarterback actually looked there? Because look, he starts to open there, and then he starts looking back already, possibly slightly.
I don't know, man. I don't know with Dodson, man. I don't know. And see, even if any of those balls get completed, PFF isn't dinging him for those. Any of them. The ones that did get completed, the ones that didn't, like in all those, he should be being graded negatively.
Okay, another positive. Reek Woolen is erasing guys in press. Like, he is unreal, and variety of techniques. He had one weird play where he completely lunged, like Tyreek Hill had been talking smack to him the play before, and he decided to try and hit him, and like he was way beat behind, but in the flat of cover 2. But other than that, he's erasing guys in press with mirror stepping, step kick, and quick jam. Here, Waddle, and basically against these dudes is crazy because he's longer and bigger than them, but he can almost run as fast as them. So they can't do anything. They're just like they're running around him like we're dead, which is it's remarkable.
Yeah,
this is a better drop from Dodson.
This is really good from Dodson.
Getting to the field area. He's helped though.
He keeps front side leverage on that crossing out for the tight end.
I think they all had a lot of attention on A-Chain as well. Like they're scared of the check down, and he was before this game going into the backfield. Okay. Another type of play from like corner wise. So Metcalf in the week spoke about how Spoon as a second year player is calling out routes based off splits and stuff. This is crazy from him. So he just understands from the split what he look. He's Hill almost runs into his butt because of how Spoon just knows what route he's getting.
Yeah, that's really good. That's impressive.
Now this is on the robot play where Knight did okay. It's just a tough timing one.
Yeah. I mean,
where Thompson decided not to be a coward. That's not Thompson. Boyle. It's Boyle. That's why Boyle should be their backup.
Yeah. So Knight identifying this, rolling over, and keeping the right position maintenance is really important. More important than him even not playing the ball well, because most of these times, if a linebacker has that position, the quarterback just won't throw it. It's because it's so quick hitting and bang bang and kind of like vertical, and not as horizontal. If it was more horizontal, it's not open at all.
If he hadn't looked back for it, he gets the pass break up.
Yeah,
he looks back for it because he doesn't expect the ball to be out that quick. Like it's one of those where you could play that 10 more times after and you'd be fine because it's just it's one of those things.
Now this is what I mean by older backup quarterbacks just not caring. Like Boyle's like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll throw it. Tell me to throw the ball, coach, I'll throw it. Give me one read stuff, I'll throw it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, make my paycheck. All right, so here's a play which is again like the flat kind of getting picked on, which McDonald took full accountability for this and said this was on him, Griff. It's the Witherspoon defensive pass interference. Why do you think... Is this it? Yeah. Why do you think McDonald took full accountability for this one?
For this play?
Yeah.
For the penalty? Wait. So he was bemoaning the penalty, right?
No, he said that's on me, like as in my read of that was he felt he could have done something better as a coach, like in terms of play call or maybe how the players were positioned or
What I'm saying is, does he think the play call put the player in a bad
that
position to
that.
cause a penalty?
Well, I wondered that, or maybe the personnel on the field, or let me get the
So it's 12. It is 12.
Yep.
And maybe it's because he doesn't want Devin Witherspoon to be the big nickel against 12 personnel.
I wondered that.
That would be the main thing. But as far as the actual play call itself goes, maybe he wanted to roll down so that the curl flat defender isn't going to have run pass conflict. Because now Devin is not the curl flat, but he is
The wheel.
Yeah, he is the flat defender. Maybe they think that's too much run pass conflict because he's going to have to read the block of that tight end, maybe. So either it's personnel related or he wanted to be in cover 3.
Yeah, I think, and maybe it's the amount of things you could pick on where he's like, you know what, I could have put my players in a better position there. But getting run faked at you while simultaneously having to be responsible for that guy expanding out is tough, right?
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so let's look at dude. All right, so Dodson's okay here because the quarterback is open to the boundary completely.
Yeah. Okay. Do we...
Is this drift stock? Is that what we're getting from Miami here? Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know.
I think that's what Kyle Shanahan calls drift stock.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. You'll like this one. Oh, we've already seen that one. Brilliant.
I was going to say, I look familiar. All right.
Just adding plays, which we've already seen.
So to preview the Lions game it's to say a lot of those in breakers. It's just more of this executed better in the play action game. And then the drop back game, it's going to come down to, I mean, there's going to be some weak choice with Gibbs. It's going to be a lot of Gibbs on Knight, Gibbs on Baker if Baker can play. It's going to be a lot of weak side choice with Amon-Ra St. Brown, but then it's also going to be Brown screaming over the middle, and then like a lot of, if Laporta can play, a lot of like branch routes. So instead of a stick route,
yeah, the way
5, it'll be breaking out 8 to 10, and he'll just be playing off the leverage of Dodson, and
yeah.
Knight.
I mean, without the schematic jargon, which, as you know, I love possibly more than you, if that is possible. The Lions have a quarterback who likes throwing the routes that we've seen Seattle maybe vulnerable to, like perhaps more than anyone in the league. A guy who actually throws them almost robotically at times, to a fault at times.
Oh, yeah. Just staring it down.
They have the best receiver Seattle's seen so far this season. If Sam Laporte is healthy, the best tight end. They have an excellent offensive line, which will stop, you would think, Seattle's D-line just wrecking shop at times to, get them out of holes in the run game, but also, getting pressure to, stop these types of throws being, thrown. And then they have a dynamic 1-2 punch at running back and a very powerful type of rushing offense with bread and butter plays, and they can go heavy and get Seattle in base looks like this, where it's a similar deal to what I was talking about, where it's like base and then it's quarter half, where I think this and this and this. Oh, that almost was bad. But it's a definite opening down the field if Derek Hall wasn't just a destroyer.
Yeah, they're giving up 6.3 yards per carry and too high this season. So a big choice is going to have to be made from, how does McDonald want to defend those
Those in-breaking routes. I
routes,
agree, Griff.
breaking routes
Oh,
with run defense? I don't know. It's just it's kind of a conundrum. Like the Lions, if the Lions can protect even a modicum of protection, it's going to be challenging. And the problem is you can't play man coverage against them because of their tight splits. You'll get picked to death, you'll get meshed to death, and they run mesh really well. The Lions do. So it's a weird matchup. They're going to require turnovers and negative plays, lots of sacks, 2 interceptions if they want to win.
Well, and I know the Ravens did well against them last year, and I think the key was, that first down, they were able to get some negative plays. I am interested to see, how much. For me, it's like a schematic battle between, one, how much big nickel can Seattle play versus base, and then 2, how much 3 bars are they, like where the safety's coming down to play the crosser. Are they able to play from depth, like from that too high presentation?
Do we also see more half quarter with the nickel playing the vertical hook to be the one to just wall off those in-breaking routes?
Which, everyone will remember Ugo Amadi used to do to stop the Rams in 2020.
2021.
2020.
Okay, maybe both. Well, the vertical hook thing was a bigger deal in 2021, though.
Really? Because I wrote an entire article on Clio pass defense after 2020, did I not?
No, you didn't. That was after 2021, bro. The Packers game, that Rams game against Stafford. 2020 was the big bear buzz year. They played cover 3 buzz all day.
The other thing we're talking about.
The other thing we're talking about.
Griff knows my content better than me. That's embarrassing.
It was a great article. Cleo, read it. Oh, hey. They gave up like 3.5 yards from too high that year as well, from too high.
What was the red zone defense like in 2021?
Elite.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, that was why they didn't give up very many points that year. That year. We're in hour 2 of this, so we're allowed to talk about Ken Norton Jr.
Anyway, Griff, 2024 Monday Night Football, Seattle at Detroit. The spread is Lions minus 3.5. The over is 40. The over underline's 46.5. Yeah. What do you fancy here? Detroit did open as a 4.5 point favorite.
Yeah, 28-26 Seahawks, I think. So the Lions have a ferocious third down defense and pass rush. They're weaker on early downs. They play man coverage on early downs more than you should. I think Seattle will need to get vertical when they catch them in man, and they'll need to get air yard explosives on early downs.
It's going to be
try to avoid third downs as much as possible.
Get DK Metcalf matched up on Brian Branch in the slot and throw slot fades.
That'll be interesting.
I feel I can see that happening. Like, is there a world where this is a shootout, but it's not a shootout because Detroit's like controlling the clock, so it's like a semi shootout, a semi. Like, because Detroit has some real like star talent. Like I liked Arnold. I know he's had some tough moments. He's been picked on a bit, but he's not completely collapsed during that. Hutchinson's like, well, as we said earlier, Forsyth owns him. That's famous last words. But they also move him around the front at times, which I think could cause Seattle issues. But I don't know how much talent they have up front other than Hutchinson. And Derek Barnes going out, it's like a low-key big miss. That he was like their Sam / he was like their hybrid player. He enabled them to play 5 down and 4 down stuff and go in between them quite seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
But they're kind of schematically diverse despite having staples. I don't know. I could see Seattle doing well against this front. I also think they might struggle to run the ball, and then they get in a nasty game. Detroit at 3.5. I'd probably bet Detroit. Just I need as much as I love what the defense has done, and I'm not disregarding these first 3 weeks. I need like seeing is believing, and I've seen some of the issues that we already thought would be issues, just not be exposed totally yet. And I feel Detroit is perhaps the best possible team, or the best position team to actually exploit that.
We haven't seen their structure tested for real yet, so it will be a very good measuring stick, like a real measuring stick. So far to this point, we just know that they're really talented and they're really communicating well and handling what they can handle really, really well. How do they handle the stuff that they're not on paper best suited for? And then how does the coaching staff respond to that schematically, right?
And this isn't just us saying this, Griff, because Mike McDonald, midweek, the numbers say it, and Mike McDonald, the Seahawks head coach, he goes, we can be so much better, just look at the tape. And so we've just looked at the tape, and they can be so much better, and that's exciting. And this is a really big opportunity for them to go out and show what they've got against a top team who, let's not forget, this was a team who were within, a disaster, but they were so close to being in the Super Bowl. And I believe you could make an argument they'd have done better against Kansas City. An argument. Right, so here's the injury report, courtesy of Bob Condota of the Seattle Times. The Seahawks didn't actually practice, so this is this Friday. So this is purely an estimate. Bang. Jerome Baker, not a participant. Boye Mafe, not a participant. Byron Murphy, not a participant. Leonard Williams, not a participant. Uchenna Nwosu, not a participant. We didn't even speak about Murphy and Williams going down. And I did feel like the interior, the pass rush, was not as juicy when they left the game last week.
Yeah, that's the other variable. They don't have all their horses for this game.
And they kind of need their horses. If there's any game you need your horses, this is the game. I mean, forget pass rush, just the run D is going to be difficult.
But also, Campbell may not have his because Ragno's out. Okay. Or I think he might be out. He's a huge part of their run scheme.
So a lack of horse.
Yeah. Lack of strong human beings.
Nice. Yeah. Let's not dehumanize. Limited participants. Hankins with a calf. They're already getting banged up. It's not on the interior. It's not good.
They really
would you play Griff Tyrese Knight more, or would you play Drake Jackson more?
You mean Drake Thomas?
Do I? Drake Jackson, is he 49ers USC edge?
That's Drake Jackson. Yeah. Remember when I was calling Geno DK last year?
Yeah, I still think about that sometimes. I don't know why either. Like, I don't know what inspired that.
Yeah.
Both misunderstood players.
Geno DK. Maybe because like the
Geno 2 DK.
Well, maybe the cadence of their name is Geno DK. I don't know. Anyway,
what's good though is you moved on from it.
Yeah, I patched that up. I fixed that issue. Something about Drake. I would play Tyrese Knight. I think I'd play Knight.
Chat, who would you play?
I want to see Knight grow.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about that. There's a few plays which we didn't get to in the run game. It's all going very fast for him.
Yeah.
But it might slow down. But there were times in college it was going very fast for the 24-year-old. So
yeah, we'll see, dude. This Lions game is going to reveal a lot about.
I think you need a bit more bulk though, and I think Knight is more stout than Thomas.
Could be. All right.
Right. Griff then. Score prediction. Come on now.
28-26 Seahawks.
Do you think?
I think Geno blacks out.
As in a good way?
Yeah,
Okay, good. Because black, that, yeah,
it's got
nice.
different connotations over here. All right, Maddie, what's your score prediction?
uh, I'm gonna, I'm gonna go with Detroit 28, the Seattle Seahawks. Hold on.
30, 24, 26,
20.
20. You don't
Yeah.
think, oh man, dude, that's going to be a problem. If 4 weeks in a row they can't score real points.
Well, that's the other topic. Oh, and I've just remembered. We were like talking. This is going to go so poorly if you can't remember. Before we came on air,
Yeah.
we were like saying something which was really like insightful. What was that thing? It was about the Seahawks, obviously.
We were like saying something, bro, and it was like,
Yeah, it was
I
so
don't know.
insightful. Oh, this team, right? Like the
Yeah.
defense in particular. And I don't know if this is probably more common league wide. It's one of those things where we don't pay attention to the other teams as much, so we're not like as clued in on it. But ask yourself, listener, how many players do the Seahawks have on their defense who are used to being like on a really good like
Oh yeah.
defense, like
Ton
and
of them.
having success?
Yeah. And you can see how hungry they are. So the coaching staff has tapped into that hunger, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But
And they're
there's
like setting a new standard, and they're like, "This is your opportunity to be great," and they're all wanting to get snaps. You got the mic'd up clip of Reek Woolen and Spoon like pissed they're out the game. Monjumbo saying Jonathan Hankins. That's one of the
that's
you
one of the
could say,
him
yeah,
and Reed. Him and Reed are the only ones
Jaron
who have
Reed, yeah,
experienced NFL winning. Jenkins hasn't, Love hasn't. Um, Obviously the young corners haven't because they've only been Seahawks. I mean, they've went
Leonard
to,
Williams hasn't.
I mean, they've won. They've been on winning teams, but they haven't really done much in the
Yeah,
playoffs. So there's all that going on.
and I think that's a double edged sword where you probably skew to it being a positive, particularly when you've got this coaching staff who's got them dialed into it.
Connor Williams.
But there isn't an experience that becomes a problem for them. Oh, and you're talking like offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think of Connor Williams,
What on good offenses?
Cowboys when he was in Dallas. Yeah.
No, yeah, but come on now. Like DK Metcalf's been on a good offense. So is Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, yeah. DK. Yeah, I mean that's why they're nails in
They're
one
so
sport league and
clutch.
stuff,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
They just don't care. They're like, whatever, just go
Yeah, I
play.
don't think it's a thing for the offense, but I do
It's
think.
definitely not. Yeah, the offense is way too.
Why
I
did you
mean,
say Connor Williams then?
just because he came to mind, but
Is he
yeah,
gonna play D tackle if things get rough?
yeah.
Five tech. Do you know some absolutely messed up thing? It made me like angry.
What?
Guess who Jim Harbaugh's five technique is?
Puna Ford.
No, 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 worse, worse. Puna's playing like
Puna's
a lot of
playing
snaps
great.
now.
I actually
Yeah.
watched one of his games. He's playing well.
Oh,
Who their five technique is? Who?
it's
Rasheem Green.
former Boise State fullback Scott Matlock.
Oh, I don't even know that person exists till just now.
Yeah,
Very cool.
the sixth round pick from 2023 draft.
Interesting. Okay.
He did actually play D tackle in college, but yeah, it's like remember a guy whose name I can't remember. The 49ers, Will Tukwafu.
I love Will
Was
Tuquafu.
was he good?
He was a good blocker, fullback. I don't know. Actually, he was kind of okay as like a 4-eye big end.
Yeah,
But
yeah. We didn't even get to talk about Drift. You know when they play like 5-0-5 on
yeah,
defense,
yeah.
they're kind of BSing their way into like reducing the front, like to steal gaps back.
Like they fall into the B kind of.
No, no, like yeah, kind of. So like the 0 can like cross face on the center in the play direction, and then if they pull, get into the puller as well. So he goes from like 0 to 2i, and then the 5 comes from outside the tackle to like being the 1 tech or a 2i. Griff's flow. It's very that was a very profound thing, and clearly Griff has found it too insightful. And with that, listener, I think I'll leave you there. Please do follow Griff at CMikeSpinMove. Follow me at Matty F Brown. We'll be back Monday night with a post-game reaction to hopefully a Seahawks victory, but I was not feeling it too good. Monjombo, you'll have the screenshot and at Seattle Overload on Twitter. Please let me know if it starts appearing in like a podcast feed like Spotify or whatnot. That would be useful. Monjombo, if someone could track our predictions, that would be great because I'm too lazy. Chat, also let us know your score predictions, and then you have bragging rights. I have nothing more to say. Hopefully tomorrow hopefully Newcastle win, and then I will hopefully write an article. Maybe I'll put a poll up at Matty F Brown on what you want to see me write on. Grubb's ability to beat man coverage is very impressive. And maybe that is a topical, timely article to produce, given they faced Detroit, who used the most man coverage in the league. Right. Thank you, everyone. Amazing numbers. Great to see the usual names. I think we've had a couple more. Thank you so much for the donation as well. Oh, Griff's back. In time. Griff, closing wisdom.
No.
Well, I've just wrapped it up. So.
Well, what was your final prediction? I don't remember. 28.
20 to the Lions.
Oh, that's right.
Still technically a 1-score game.
Yeah. Okay. Maddie, watch Children of Men.